name is Ruth Common. I was born Ruth Caulfield, and I'm sitting here on the 3rd of September 2009, and I'm indulging in some reminiscences, and at the moment I'm sitting on the stage at the Princess Theatre. My mother was widowed at the age of 34 in 1944, and she brought my brother, who's 8 years older than I am, and myself down to Brisbane because she did not want anyone in Rockhampton, where he passed away, to give her a job out of sympathy. So she came down here and she literally walked the streets, because in 1946, as everyone will know, there were a lot of people leaving the army, being made redundant and looking for work. My mother was a highly talented bookkeeper come accountant, for which she was qualified. But in those days, women were paid 75% of the men's wage. She found a job with a group of cinemas called Liberty Theatres, of which the Princess Theatre was the headquarters. There was also the Alhambra Theatre at Stones Corner. There was the Broadway Theatre at the Gabba, and I think the Boomerang at Annerley Road, but I could be wrong there, but there were several other cinemas spread throughout Queensland. Mum was their bookkeeper, and I spent a lot of my early years upstairs. To the right of the main stairway, which is exactly the same as I remember it, was the apartment of one of the owners of Liberty Theatres, a lady called Mary Thornley. To the left of the staircase was my mother's office, where I spent a lot of time curling up in the corner. On a Saturday night, Mum would stay behind to collect the takings from all the theatres. And it's amazing to think of it now, and it would never happen this day and age, but she would collect, probably in those days, hundreds of dollars of takings, put it in a handbag, put it in a string bag, and we would go home by the tram to Camp Hill. Would never happen this day and age. For a cinema, it had the biggest stage for a cinema. Cloudland was the biggest ballroom in Brisbane at the time, and the Trocadero, even though I don't have any recall of that, but it was sort of in vogue in the Second World War. You know, all the American sailors went off to the Trocadero and all this sort of thing. But this was the next one. And they used to hold in those days, of course, cinema was like TV is today. And they used to have some really red-hot balls there. And that stage was probably the biggest cinema stage in Brisbane at the time. Really good. I remember seeing Casablanca, but I think I was, a bit older than 5 at the time. I remember the Saturday afternoon flicks with those terrible, terrible serials, with microphones like that, and yeah. The theatre, looking at it now, is very much the same as I remember it. The other owner was a gentleman by the name of Ern Setterfield, who lived in Newman Avenue, Camp Hill. And actually I went to his home this morning and had a look. It brings back very great memories to me, mostly happy. My mum was an extremely hard worker, and she raised both of us, my brother, who was 8 years older than me, and myself. He went to Churchie, I went to Clayfield College, and it wasn't a case of if you go to university, it was when you go to university. She was an absolutely admirable woman, whom her family adored. And I have some great memories of this place.